Are you building your business like an influencer or a business owner? In my last video, I talked a lot about 2026 and beyond. What does it mean for the coaching space, the online business owner, and how are things really changing quite drastically in a way that's actually good for the quote unquote little guy? And frankly, the gurus are really sweating it because this hurting people, quantity mass produced product situation is really no longer working. AI is taking the informational based digital product and made a lot of it obsolete. And so now a lot of these people are going to have to come down off of their ivory towers and start actually getting in the trenches with people again, because we're realizing that information does not cause transformation, and people need people just like you, just like me, who are there to actually walk them through the embodiment process. And that is such good news for you. Hi, I'm Jana Niksa, the Authentic Sales Coach. Welcome back to my channel. If it is your first time here, welcome. I work with my clients on creating high-ticket offers and teaching them a very simple sales process so that they can get high-ticket clients like clockwork. And let me tell you, it isn't about so many of the things like creating content 24/7, being omnipresent, having 1,000 downloadable digital products, funnels, and all of those things. In fact, we go back to the basics on this channel because I spent over 2 decades as a top performer in the sales world. And what I learned there is it's all about intention. It's all about human connection and conversation. And it's about quality over quantity when it comes to high ticket. And if that's you, then stick around, because what I like to talk about on this channel is how to make people like you successful. And the beauty of it is, even though these gurus are trying to sell you all of these different ways and things and shiny objects and one funnel away, at the end of the day, it's actually very simple, and it comes down to a few skill sets. And so what I'm loving about this transition that we're in is people who are really good at what they do only need to learn a few things, like learning how to communicate that effectively with confidence, and you can have high ticket clients. So we talked about that quite a bit in the last video and just kind of where things are headed. And so I wanted to now point you in the direction of, okay, well, what are the offers? Like, what does it look like? If people aren't going to buy digital products anymore, how do I put together a high ticket offer that people want and are willing to invest in? And what does that look like in the face of AI, in the age of AI? So I'm going to break this down as simplistically as I can. So the very first thing you want to make sure you have is, let's flip it backwards. So many people even come to me and they've already created what they think is an offer, and now they're trying to figure out how to sell it. And that's usually mistake number one, because it's a lot easier to figure out what your ideal client wants and create the offer with that in mind, instead of having to back yourself into an offer that you want to teach and then figure out how to sell it. So can you see the difference there? It doesn't change what you do on the inside of the offer. It really changes the way you deliver it, the way you speak about it, and maybe getting a little more tangible and specific around the process you're taking them through. Whereas most of the time I hear people talking about logistics. What does that look like? Well, we're going to have this many calls. It's going to be this length of time. You're going to have this many modules. And that is not it. Okay. And so when we talk about the logistics and the features of the offer, instead of the benefits and the 3 to 5 moves, we're going to take people through to get them to the end result they desire. It all just kind of gets lost. It starts to sound like a lot of work, and it starts to sound like, I don't know, maybe I can do this on my own. Now, the second piece of this is really the whole reason I created this video, because frankly, I didn't mention it in the last one, and it's so important. I mentioned a lot about connection. I mentioned when you're in high ticket, I want you to think about this. If you want a 6-figure business, if you're selling a 5K or 10K offer, that's only 10 to 20 people per year in order to get there. And so all of this hoopla that you've been trying to do because you think you need more leads is actually the very thing that's preventing you from the success you want. And so while we're going to talk about connection and all of that, the very first thing I want you to think about is in-person stuff, in-person events, learning how to have in-person retreats. Watch this, that are actually in your offer and not standalone. I want you to start thinking like, if people want to connect, if they want to be human, if they really want proximity, which high ticket buyers do, they want speed, they want ROI, they want proximity, they want to be put in places and spaces that give them extra opportunities, especially if you're creating offers for entrepreneurs. And so how can we be a little more intentional instead of like modules and courses and more information? Like, what are different things you can do inside your offer to get them their transformation as quickly as possible? And any of you that have ever attended an in-person event, a retreat, some sort of space where you're really being held through a transformational process, you know that that is far more powerful than sitting behind a computer screen. I have often had people tell me that my retreat, my Sales Accelerator Live that I do, just those 3 days of us together is well worth the price of admission to the program. And so this is good news. Most of the people I work with, they don't want to sit on their ivory tower just having people click a link all day long. Yes, some of that's great, especially if it's going to get you some leads, but ultimately, they want to be leading their clients through that process. They're light workers. They're here to really transform people, and they want to be a part of that, which leads me to the next piece of this is not just the smaller delivery events, but just in-person events in general. So you're bringing people together, whether it's something in your hometown or creating maybe even in a bigger event with some other entrepreneurs, but places and spaces, not just for delivery events, but also for sales events. But don't be afraid. We're not talking about like some massive thousands of people type event. We're talking about the power of micro events and having like-minded people in a space where they can be walked through a process and experience your energy and the other experts in the room, and also potentially buy into offers, but not at these big levels like we've been used to in the past, but much, much more of an intimate setting, which really leads me to the last point. And that is, instead of you making your systems do all of this heavy lifting, at least to your first 6 figures and multi-6 figures in high ticket, you don't want to use a low ticket strategy to try to get high ticket clients. This is a very common misconception because you see the gurus doing it this way, or there's just a lot of noise about, you're one funnel away and all of that. That's actually for people who are scaling their business. And so I do have systems now in my business, but only within the last year. I made it to multiple 6 figures before I really started digging into all of that. And actually, the thing that prevented me from getting to those multiple 6 figures faster was trying to do all the low ticket freebie stuff, to the email lists, to the landing page, to the la 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 la, when really all I needed was 10 to 20 people per year. And you don't need systems for that. I've had some of my clients do things as simple as a meetup group or an Eventbrite event and, getting 10, 20, 30 plus people in the room, and then 5 want to buy your product. I mean, that's already potentially $100,000. So you don't need hundreds and thousands of people, and you don't need hundreds and thousands of followers. The thing that I've always said from the get-go, and this comes from my sales background, is more leads is not going to fix a broken sales process. If you can't convert the audience you have Adding more people to it isn't going to do it. Typically, it's your offer, it's your messaging, and it's your sales process. Fix that before you throw more leads on it. And so while everyone else is still busy out there trying to just get more leads, you're actually fixing the leaks in your sales process that is causing you not to have more high ticket clients. And the truth is, when this is all set up properly and you truly are solving a problem that people will pay to get solved, and you reverse engineer your offer in that way, instead of creating the offer you want to teach, and now it's like, how do I figure out how to sell it? That's exactly what we do, right? It's not that your expertise changes. It's that we shoot it through a lens of, okay, where is the problem that can be solved with this expertise? And let's reverse engineer it from there. And when you do it in that way, people don't have to be convinced. They don't have to be sold. They already want to solve this problem. And now all you have to do is be able to show them that their problem is solvable. It's not as hard as they think it is. And when they have someone to walk them through it, it's actually quite easy. And that, yes, they can do it. And when you're able to create offers in that way and have those human conversations and walk people through this, everything gets a lot easier. In fact, sales conversations become buying conversations because you are owning your value, you're demonstrating it, they can see, and they want to invest because they want things to be different. They're ready. They want to change their current circumstances, and they're willing to do what it takes to get a different result. So my point here in all of this is, how can you create more? Is intimacy the right word? In your business? How can you create offers that are really more intentional for your ideal client? How can you find ways to insert things into your offers that gives you more proximity to you, so that you really truly can take them through this process, holding their hand, think like white glove service. And the fact that you don't need thousands of people to do this. So the skill sets become so simple. Not easy, but certainly not learning how to build landing pages and how to be copywriter and having to be omnipresent on social media and having to have hundreds of thousands of leads and having to email your audience every day. I mean, all of these things get you so twisted up when it really does come down to your basic human skills: connection, communication, having conviction in you and your ability to help them. So if you want to go deeper into this, if you're feeling like, Jana, I want to simplify to amplify, I want to insert a high ticket offer into my product portfolio or create a high ticket offer that actually sells, you want to go deeper, check out the description for our next boot camp that we have coming up. Each month, we have some sort of event that helps you deepen these skill sets that I'm talking about, whether it's our Perfect Your Pitch Party or our boot camp or our challenge. But the truth is, if you're feeling like you want to go deeper and spend more time and see how all of this that I'm talking to you about today applies to you specifically in your business, click the link and join us for our next one. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.